Last August at orientation, my biggest fear for the service year was that my child nutrition director wouldn't talk to me and wouldn't work with me. How would I get kids fresh local produce if this one person wasn't on board? What if he flat out rejects monthly tasting tables or getting on our statewide farm to school program or implementing a salad bar in a school cafeteria? So with all of these goals and these lofty targets in my head, I start my service year and I sit down to my new desk and I open the file drawer and I see a file entitled Child Nutrition Director. So I take it out and I open it up and the first 2 lines read, Child Nutrition Director says salad bars are off limits and tasting tables are a huge waste of money. Sweet. But I go into my first meeting with Robert, our Child Nutrition Director, and I still have these goals in my head that I would love to have tasting tables at our schools. I would love to see our county on the statewide farm to school program for the first time. And I would love to implement a salad bar in at least one cafeteria before the end of the year. But I go into this first meeting with Robert and I just listen. And in fact, that first meeting, he does all the talking. He talks the entire time about why tasting tables are such a bad idea. He says, the groups of students are way too large. He says, it's hard to focus on the menu item. There's no concrete feedback. Therefore, it's hard to see, if this would be a viable lunch menu option. So he says, you know what we need to do? We need to take small groups of students back into the cafeteria to work with our lunch staff so they can develop a relationship. We can use fresh produce, you can do your nutrition education thing, and you can send the recipe home with their families. And by the end of that meeting, he had talked himself right into a far more creative and far more intricate tasting table that I have ever thought to propose to this man, seriously. And that, in effect, became our first program together. That's exactly what we did. We sent the kids home with this recipe to their families that we had made in the kitchen. And parents were coming back to school saying, my kid's been on me all week to go to the store to get carrots and broccoli. Like, kind of look at me like this. And then, kids would come in the day after spinach day and say, why isn't spinach on the lunch menu yet? And so, needless to say, Robert was extremely impressed and excited and confused about this. About the success of our first program together. But because it was so successful, we continued to work together. He let us use the cafeteria kitchen to do different events and do our 5th grade culinary club. And shortly thereafter, he joined the North Carolina Farm to School program. And thanks. And he told me he joined the program because I pestered him to the point where he just felt really guilty. And so that's what he told me. He told me he just signed up for it because of that reason. But the point is, we now have North Carolina collards and North Carolina apples on our school lunch menu. And despite my pestering, we continued to work together, this time on salad bars. I worked with a business marketing class at the high school to conduct market research on the student body to see if salad bars would be a viable lunch menu option for the school. And during this project, Robert came in and he talked about the business of school lunch, and he talked about salad bars and essentially why salad bars wouldn't work in this cafeteria, basically a list of challenges. And the students created a business proposal that addressed each of these challenges. And they paired this business proposal with their market research, and they presented both of them to their school principal, the child nutrition director himself, and the school superintendent. And by the end of that presentation, Robert was telling them, I would love to work directly with your class to implement a salad bar in your school cafeteria. And what I learned about Robert this year is that we actually have quite a few things in common. He's a soccer fanatic, so we start all of our meetings with an update of Warren County soccer, which is really fun. And he also has a background in the restaurant industry, so he's just very practical, and he loves efficiency a lot. And but more than that, he really loves working with kids. Really loves working with kids. It's really clear, and in short, he is a perfect FoodCorps partner. The key was to find out what his vision was, connect it to that of FoodCorps, and to just make it happen. And I guess just what I want to emphasize tonight is that all of these changes, from the tasting tables to the farm to school program and the salad bar, They all came about through relationship building and teamwork. Robert loves to tell you that he's been doing this job a very, very long time. And me, I've been working in school cafeterias for less than a year. So why wouldn't I not only present these creative, new, innovative approaches, but also ask Robert what he thinks will be most effective and what he thinks will work? And the next time I walk into a meeting with little experience, but huge ideas, I hope to first just listen.